Welcome into Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. My name is Madeline Burke, alongside the Super Bowl champion Sean O'Hara. Sean, the Giants went down to Atlanta for a Week 16 matchup with the Falcons. Started off strong, the touchdown pass from Drew Lock to Tyrone Tracy, but after a 7-0 lead, it was all Atlanta. 34 unanswered points as the Falcons come away with a 34-7 win.
Yeah, Matt, a great start for the Giants, and on the road, that's exactly what you want to do. They got a lead, and you felt the energy. There was some excitement. And then this has happened too many times this year. It's just a frustrating performance offensively. If you would have told me coming into this game that a quarterback was going to throw 2 pick sixes, I would have thought it was Michael Penix, the rookie quarterback, not Drew Lock. But as the Giants saw that 7-0 lead evaporate, they gave up a field goal and then a pick six on the next possession. They never seemed to recover from that. This offense and this team is just not good enough, Madeline, to spot another team 14 points via 2 pick sixes and think that they're going to come away with a victory on the road. That's just not how you're going to win football games in the NFL right now. There are not a lot of teams that are good enough to win games with those kind of turnovers and mistakes. The Giants are certainly not one of them right now. I thought they had a chance with Drew Lock to kind of put together some drives, stay on the field. They were awful on third down. Again, we saw them 2 for 12 last week. Again, today, just 3 third down conversions the entire game. That's not good enough. I felt like the offense was really in reverse with those turnovers. They never overcame them. Look, defensively, I thought they played spirited. They played hard. Look, right out of the gate, the first play of the game, Kayvon Thibodeau gets a big hit on Michael Penix. But when you see the offense giving up the ball like that and putting you behind the 8 ball, it's really tough. It made it tough on the defense, and Bijan Robinson basically took over the game.
Well, and you mentioned right out the gate, I mean, this is a rookie quarterback starting for Atlanta. Michael Penix Jr., his first start in the National Football League. He's a left-handed quarterback, a little bit of a different look. But again, a young guy. The Giants defense is trying to give him some different looks, give him some kind of different pressures. At first, as you mentioned, they were able to get pressure on him and rattle him. But the Giants defense just couldn't quite throw this offense off their game.
Yeah, no, I mean, Michael Penix did a good job getting the ball out. I mean, he didn't sit back there and hold on to it. Look, he definitely gave a couple of opportunities for the Giants to create some plays. But you could tell that the Giants defense just never seemed to have an opportunity to really rattle him. Like, you want to blitz a young quarterback, and anytime as a defensive coordinator you're going up against a quarterback and making his first start, you want to test him. You want to make it hard on him. You want to see if he'll create that error, and he never did. And the Giants defense, even though, I think when you're looking at them, their number one priority was stop the run. I think that they knew that Michael Penix was going to air it out. The Atlanta Falcons offense, they have some good receivers. They wanted to see what he could do. And the one thing that you could tell with Michael Penix that was hard defensively was that ball was perfect location almost every single time. And you could see there were a lot of receivers that made the first guy miss because they were able to make a play because the ball was on them so quick.
Well, and also not just the passing game, the rushing attack from this Falcons team too. Bijan Robinson, we talked about this all week coming into this matchup, what a threat he is in the run game. 22 rushing attempts, 94 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. It seemed like he was having his way through this Giants defense that's been struggling against the run.
Yeah, look, I think they did a good job trying to get Bijan Robinson in space early on. There were some really physical tackles. I thought the Giants defense was really swarming to the ball. There was a few times where they bottled him up and stuffed him, but he is that type of running back where rarely does the first guy bring him down. So that mentality has to be swarm. Everybody's got to get to the football. Look, he was an impact in the game, no doubt about it. I thought he ran so hard. And you could kind of see, look, Micah McFadden ends up going down. Like, it starts to wear the defense down. And you could see in the second half, they took its toll.
Right. Micah McFadden left this game with a neck injury, didn't end up returning. A big loss for the Giants defense. Now, offensively for the Giants, we talked about their attempts to get some things going, their attempts to throw in some different looks. Late in the game, though, we see the Giants 4th and goal, still unable to convert in that situation. The red zone struggles seem to be rearing their head once again.
Yeah, red zone's been an issue, but let me tell you, if it's 4th and goal from the 22-yard line, something bad has happened in the previous snap. So back-to-back, false start penalties on Evan Neal. Like, the red zone offense is hard enough as it is. You can't back it up to the 22-yard line. So that was dysfunctional at best offensively at the end of the game. I think when you look at offensively, you always want to go into a game like this and say, all right, what are we doing well? Like, what can we build off of? And I think Tyrone Tracy is the guy that you want to layer things off of, and you want to get him involved early and often. I still thought we threw the ball way too often in this game. look, it got out of hand later on in the game, but early on, this should have been a ground and pound type of game. Let's lean on Tyrone Tracy. Let's get some screens to get him the ball in space. I thought Wan'Dale Robinson showed that he was ready to play, and he was a lightning rod offensively. Every single time he got the football, he was going vertical, and he was getting yards after contact. So I think sometimes when a game starts, you got to feed the hot hand. I thought Wan'Dale could have had a bigger game.
Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson, 7 receptions, 62 yards on 12 targets right there. But you talk about the young guy, Tyrone Tracy, Malik Nabers also getting involved, 7 receptions. He broke the Giants' rookie receiving record, still about 8 receptions shy of the NFL receiving record. You know, he's got his eye on that one as well. We're going to continue to break down this game, though. Week 16 Giants loss in Atlanta, 34-7 is your final. But first, Giants fans, it's Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. You can learn more at moodys.com. After the break, we're going to hear from head coach Brian Dable, hear what he has to say as the Giants drop their 10th straight game, 34-7 loss to the Falcons in Atlanta. We'll hear from the head coach after the break on Giants Postgame Live. Hey, Giants fans, the official 100-season book titled New York Football Giants, The People, the Moments, the Traditions is now available exclusively at the Giants online shop. This book explores the top 100 players of all time, unforgettable games, and stories that have defined the franchise for the last century. Visit Giants online shop to get yours today. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Madeline Burke and Sean O'Hara standing by as the Giants fall to the Falcons. 34-7 is the final score. But for another perspective on this game, let's send it down to Atlanta, where Paul Dottino and Howard Cross are standing by for more.
Howard, we might as go in chronological order here on this one, because the Giants actually held the Falcons out of the end zone to a missed field goal at the beginning of the game. Then they drive 70 yards in 14 plays, and they actually get a touchdown from Tyrone Tracy to take the lead on a really nice catch.
Well, you know what? Tracy did do a good job on the catch. When you talk about the defense right off the front, they get the 3 and out was good. I thought they did a great job coming up and making plays really early on. You know, they got to the running back early. They got to the quarterback early. 3 and out, they're out of the game. The 14-play drive was almost like it was scripted. They did a good job, you know, blocking. They knew who they were getting to. They got their assignments. They get all the way down the field, and Locke throws a touchdown. It looks like they're going to be in a positive way the entire game.
I know as a tight end, you have to appreciate the tiptoe along the back end of the end zone. Tracy using those receiver skills.
Hey, you know what? He played receiver for a while in college as well as running back. He went back to the receiver skills right there, and he did a good job.
All right, now things then went south for the Giants. 2 pick sixes. Bates made it 10-7 in the second quarter off a pick 6. Judon had one in the third, made it 24-7.
You had two plays right there where the ball gets tipped. When the ball gets tipped, the other players get their hands on the ball. When they get their hands on the ball, it goes back with touchdowns. Some way, somehow, they got to get the guys' hands down when they're throwing slants and low passes really close to the line of scrimmage. If they don't do that, they're going to have a problem with it for the rest of the year. It's only a couple games left, but they got to find a way to get the guys' hands down up front.
Howard, you know what it's like to play hurt. Malik Nabers has been nursing a sore hip now for weeks. Still stays in there to the end, sets the Giants' rookie receiving records. I know you've really been keeping a close eye on him.
Hey, look, I like Malik Nabers. I think he's doing a lot of good things, but some details he's got to get himself onto. Every game he seems to have an illegal procedure or illegal formation. He's got to hustle up in those shifts and motions, get himself set and get ready to go. They're taking yards not just from the offense, but off of his stat book. He doesn't want that. And it's not just Malik. I'm not pointing them out. There are a lot of plays where guys are just off a little bit. It takes a lot of focus, even this late in the year. And I know everybody hasn't been playing all year. I know there are guys off the practice squad and off the street. But if you want to play, you want to be on somebody else's roster next year, have good habits.
Speaking of guys playing, I know you said to me right before we started this taping or this discussion that Darius Slayton did a real nice job late in the game.
Hey, you know, when your starting linebacker goes out and they give you the green dot, he did a good job. He came in, he did some great stuff. He made plays, he made tackles. I appreciate him for what he did and getting all the calls right.
Merry Christmas, Howard.
Merry Christmas.
Folks in the studio, let's go back to you.
Thanks so much, Paul Dottino and Howard Cross out in Atlanta. Darius Slayton did a great job with the green dot for the young guy, the rookie. But one of the points that Howard made, too, is about the guys getting their arms up the line of scrimmage. It seems like Drew Lock gets balls batted down at the line quite a bit.
Yeah, and a lot of that's because Drew Lock throws a low trajectory ball, and sometimes it's sidearmed. That's one of the things that as a quarterback, you've got to find a way to navigate. And, he's not the only quarterback that has struggled with some of those things, but when you're staring down a guy, the first interception, he threw it late, stared down the guy. The second pick six was a defender right in his face, and he kind of deflects the ball. Now, that defender, it was a three-step drop mentality, so that's why you saw Evan Neal cut or attempt to cut the defender on the edge. Didn't work out. But those are things that, as a quarterback, if you know you're going to throw a slant or you know you're going to throw a ball over the offensive and defensive lineman, you've got to find a window and you've got to make sure that you can complete that pass. It's tough to really simulate in practice. I've seen equipment guys hold up brooms at the line of scrimmage to simulate defender's arms, and then you've got to find a way to throw the ball, fit the ball through the picket fence as a quarterback. But that's just part of the issue. Look, they talked about the turnovers and the penalties. You go on the road in the NFL and you lose a turnover battle and you have 10 penalties, you don't deserve to win the game. And that's really what it came down to for the Giants.
Well, the turnover battle has been a point of emphasis all season. And once again, they lose it significantly. They haven't won it yet this season. Brian Dable, a point that he keeps harping week in and week out. All right, we've got more to come here, but first, Giants fans, guests of our post-game show receive a gift certificate to Ben & Jack's, located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben & Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. Much more to come here on Giants post-game live. Waiting on Brian Dable, the head coach, heads to the podium. We'll take a listen what he has to say next. Giants fans, join the Giants text alert community for breaking news, sweepstakes, ticket offers, and important game day information. Just scan the QR code on your screen or text GIANTS to 201-636-1569 to get started today. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Madeline Burke and Sean O'Hara recapping the Giants' Week 16 loss to the Falcons. 34-7 is the final score. But for more, let's send it down to Atlanta, where head coach Brian Dable is addressing the media.
Give Atlanta credit. Again, you can't start to win a game when you throw 2 interceptions for touchdowns, have another turnover, lose the turnover ratio. They did a better job. Obviously, we weren't good enough.
That's obviously 10 straight losses is a franchise record. How do you make sense of that?
Yeah, just worried about this one, and it wasn't good enough. So.
It seems like it's getting worse. Like, how do you stop this?
Yeah, we got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. Again, to give up 14 points on the offensive side of the ball, it's hard to win any game.
What did you see on those 2? You keep bringing up those 2 pick sixes, obviously big plays.
Yeah, one safety read it and jumped in front and took it to the house, and the other one got tipped at the start of the half. So, and then we had a fumble there too at the end of the half. So, got to take care of the ball offensively. It's not good enough.
You consider going to Tommy?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Let Drew battle through it, and so we can make some improvements. But just at the end of the day, you can't. It's hard to win a game down when you turn the ball over 3 times.
When things are spiraling like this,
yeah.
What do you what is the challenge, and what do you tell to your players to try to keep their focus?
Yeah, I mean, look, the guys have a lot of pride. Again, but at the end of the day, it wasn't good enough. That's my fault. And again, it's some simple things relative to turnovers and things like that. That if you have those things in games, it's it's hard to win. So.
Brian, a lot of procedural penalties. The illegal shift again. Malik, I think got 2 of them. I mean, what's?
Yeah, I think another receiver. Again, we'll take a look at it. I think Malik was okay on that one. I think we weren't set on the other side of it, or we were just getting our feet set, and we moved him over there pretty quick. But unacceptable. Can't have it. That's, again, you can put it on me.
You get 3 cornerbacks back, but Penix was still able to kind of have a solid game. What did you kind of see he was able to do against the defense that made him able to move the ball downfield? Well,
I think they just controlled the game. We came out with 17-7 at half, then we give up a touchdown. It's 24-7 early on, so they were able to control the game.
You came out throwing. Did you think you could take advantage of something in the Falcons? secondary or something? You threw it more than you ran in the first half, certainly.
I mean, look, I think we have good receivers. We try to move them around a little bit and mix in the runs, or quick screens. Some of those quick screens or look passes to whether it was Wandell or Nabers are like runs to me. Get them in space and run after catch.
What did you make the play of Evan Neal today? Obviously, the 2 penalties on the last on that.
Yeah, we'll go back and take a look at it.
As a competitor, what are your emotions right now, losing a game like this and losing 10 straight?
Look, it's not good enough. So, again, that's my responsibility. And you do everything you can do each week. Obviously not good enough. So, of course, after every game it hurts. Hurts to lose. You put a lot into it. And, we have 2 more to finish off, and, you got to put everything into it.
How much is it wearing on you personally?
Yeah, I'm just focused on our team. Our team and try to get them better and, try to get a win here. Again, disappointing day.
How do you not worry about how it reflects on you? You lost the last 2 games by 20-plus points.
Yeah, I just,
10 straight.
Yeah, again, like I said, it's not good enough. And do everything you can do to do better the next week and the next day.
With 2 games left, is it hard to say it's not good enough? Because at this point, you would hope that things start to figure out a little bit.
Yeah, look, the guys are doing everything they can do, and that's what we'll do this week.
Do you feel like your voice is still being heard completely?
Yeah, I think we got a lot of good competitors in the room. And again, it's tough when you lose, Jordan. You put a lot.
What do you see that makes you think that?
Look, I'm around him every day. So, look, our focus is just trying to get better each week, get better after this game, and that's all you can do.
Fans are going to hear that and say you're good competitors, and then they see the results. Like, how do you resolve that to fans who are kind of probably sideways when you say that?
Yeah, I'll just say, look, it's not good enough. It wasn't good enough, and again, you have 3 turnovers in a game. That's usually, and only 1 on the other side, and you give up 2 for 14 points. These are usually the outcomes.
For the offense, is this you struggle this much? You may regrets about how you've handled QB situation last month or so.
Yeah, we'll just try to do what we think is best.
You have to at least think about going to Tommy. Will you in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'd say we just done playing this game. We'll go back, we'll watch the tape, and make our decisions.
Okay, locker room talk. We'll bring you through it.
I'll show you how to get there.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll is brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Football Giants. Sean, one of the things that we heard Brian Daboll say several times is it's just not good enough. About many points of this loss, 34-7, the final score. But again, the penalties keep rearing their head. 10 penalties for 85 yards, a couple of them illegal shift penalties. And while we were watching this game, noting the kind of nuances in that penalty, how would you explain to the fans that might look at it and say, oh, Nabers called for an illegal shift penalty, it must be his fault?
Yeah, great question. We were talking about this as the game was unfolding. You see that illegal formation penalty or illegal shift, and it's called on a player. So in one of the cases, the second one called on Malik Nabers, he's going in motion, but he's the third receiver. It's trips left. He's the inside receiver. He's looking in at the quarterback. He goes in motion. Well, if he starts moving and Wandell Robinson or a receiver on the outside of him is moving up to get on the line of scrimmage, now you have 2 guys moving at the same time. If that happens, they both have to get set before you snap the ball. Malik Nabers is called for a legal shift because they're both moving and he doesn't stop. He doesn't know that the outside receiver was moving when he started. So that one's not on the player, but it's just sloppy football. And we've heard Brian Daboll say it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Week in and week out. Everybody's tired of hearing that. And here's my plea. When you see sloppy football, when you see penalties, when you see turnovers, it's all about the details. The attention to details and the small little things, those accumulate. And that's what shows up on game day. When you see bad, sloppy football like we're seeing from the Giants, that's on the players. Because the players are the ones that are responsible for the details. Your coach is going to give you a game plan. Here's our X's and O's, here's our plays, here's our strategy. That's not where the flaws are. The flaws are in the execution of the details of each and every one of those plays. And when you watch football like that, it's frustrating as a former player because you know those are details that you're overlooking during the week. And they're showing up on game day and they're coming back to bite you. And now everybody's ticked off, all right? Everybody's ticked off with the coaches and the players. But the players are the ones that have to figure out, it's the devil's in the details. And if you don't take care of it, every Sunday we're going to stand up here saying it's not good enough.
Absolutely. And going back to the fundamentals, making the easy things simplified. side, and doing the fundamental things well is the key right there, and starting from ground zero as they build this one up with 2 games to go.
And the easy thing is don't beat yourself.
Right. Like Dable said, too, giving up 14 points on offense with 2 pick sixes, one of them a 55-yard return for a touchdown. That's hard to win a game when you are putting yourself in that.
It's a season of giving, but not on the football field.
Little too benevolent there, little bit. All right, we've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. We're going to hear from the quarterback, Drew Lock, hear what he has to say after Week 16 loss, next on Giants Postgame Live.
Why do you think it was such a struggle today?
Lots of things. Just didn't capitalize when we had the chance to. Had momentum after that first touchdown. And that next drive, broken play. Can't make it worse. Keep it in your hands. Don't put it in theirs. Scoring points to their team's never good, so just can't have that happen.
What did you see on that first interception? Was just Bates on the way, or just what did you see?
We had a shift coming out of the huddle. Broke the huddle late. Went up to Malik, tried to get him over to his side. Seen him run over there. Clock's getting down. Try to get the ball in my hands to be able to do something with it, but just didn't get our guys set, and can't make a bad play worse. Flag, nothing would have counted. Just can't do that. Can't do that. You gotta keep it in your hands.
Drew, you get a 14-play, 70-yard touchdown drive. Tracy catches that ball in the back of the end zone, which was a sweet play. What was going right then in that drive that you could not replicate?
Shoot. It was just a good mix of things in that drive. When we did throw it, there was completions. You know, when we ran it, we were running it. Man, just getting the ball into the other guy's hands. That worked for us that drive, and we did well on that drive, but the other ones just weren't good enough.
10 straight losses for this group. Just what's kind of the mood of this locker room? Obviously, the losses are adding up, but just how are you guys processing it, or have you even processed it yet?
Yeah. Well, you know, at this point in the year, where you're at, you're obviously not going to the playoffs, but all of us have pride in here. All of us have a job to do. It's our job. You know, doesn't matter what the record is. Got to come in and work. Try to keep getting better, and come out here and perform. It's our job. Keep doing it no matter what.
That's Giants quarterback Drew Lock as we take a look at his numbers today against the Falcons. 22 of 39 for 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, both the interceptions pick sixes. As we welcome you back to the studio, Madeline Burke and Sean O'Hara breaking down the Giants' Week 16 loss. Sean, we heard him talking about one of the pick sixes there. After that delay of game penalty, kind of so focused on hurrying up, breaking the huddle late, and making sure you get the playoff, that it kind of led that rushing led to it a little bit. Yeah,
when I was in college, Terry Shea, one of my college football coach, he always had a saying, be quick but don't hurry. When you hurry, things kind of go sideways. And I think that's what we saw. The Giants got a first down, and right after that, they have a delay of game. So now it's 1st and 15, and you saw Brian Dable on the sideline. He was furious the fact that they had a delay of game right after converting a first down. And then the next play, they get the play call in, and you could tell that Drew Lock was a little bit, he was hurrying at the line. He was trying to get the guys in motion. That's what the penalty was. And I think in that hurry, you know, that's where all of a sudden the bad decision came. And the first interception, Jesse Bates jumped in front of it. Jesse Bates has done this to many quarterbacks. So Drew Lock, don't feel bad. He's got a lot of pick sixes in the league, but you can't make that throw late. That's a late decision. And he just kind of, I think he knew as soon as he let the ball go that I should have never thrown that ball. Like he said, I got to live for the next down. Put that ball in the dirt. Live for the next down. Don't make a bad play worse. And I think that's just decision making. I think it's something that Drew Lock, it's one of the things that you get better at with experience and with reps. So obviously he learned from that one. The second one, not necessarily a decision aspect, it's just bad luck. And I think that the Giants have had a huge case of that this season. Right. Every single time the ball could bounce bad for them, it has. And that was a perfect example of it going the other way. So you look at Drew Lock and you just say, look, what more could he have done? Look, the fact that he threw the ball 39 times in this game, I was not expecting that. I don't know why you would want him to throw the ball 39 times. So you want to try to find a way to put him in the best position. And I think that if he had thrown the ball 20 to 25 times, that's where you want Drew Lock. Now, he did make a couple of good plays, as Paul Dottino pointed out. That touchdown throw to Tyron Tracy, that was because Drew Lock used his legs and bought extra time, got out of the pocket, found a little way to use that scramble drill. Maybe they could have done some more of that, maybe some more rollouts and let him move the pocket a little bit so he's not standing back there in the pocket getting harassed. But I think Drew Lock, look, those are things that you're going to learn from. It's the third starting quarterback now for the Giants. When you have that much rotation and a quarterback carousel, it's hard to get rhythm as a play caller, and it's hard to get rhythm and confidence for your quarterback.
Right, and hard to get momentum, too. And as we heard Locke talk about that first touchdown, they took a 7-0 lead. They had an early lead in the game. They felt like they had the momentum, but then the mistakes, the miscues, they start shooting themselves in the foot, and then 34 unanswered points. The air comes out of the balloon, and when you start losing the momentum and you feel that slide, it's really hard to get it back.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's where, as a coach in Brian Dable, and he's also the play caller, so you've got to look and say, okay, what are we struggling with? We're on the road, so is the noise a factor? Like, maybe I need to eliminate any pre-shifts. Like, let's just line up in the formation that we're going to be in when the ball is snapped. Let's eliminate all of that. Let's eliminate all the things that the quarterback has to do before the ball is snapped. So that all puts more things on their plate. It's more of an onus on a quarterback to handle all the traffic before and also read the coverage and see what the defense is doing. So maybe there's ways to do that, or you say, look, I'm going to go 2-minute offense or go no-huddle offense, change up the pace, and kind of just make things elementary for my quarterback so he can just think about reading the safeties, reading the coverages, and then getting the ball out. So there's ways to do that within a game based on how the game is going. Absolutely.
The Giants dropped their 10th straight game, fall to 2-13 on the season after a 34-7 loss to the Falcons in Atlanta. We'll continue to unpack this one with more sound from Atlanta and more. This Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health, continues after this quick break.
People are playing hard. People are trying. You know, it's not that people aren't trying. We're just doing bad things. Like I said, like 2 offensive touchdowns, that's 14 points. In theory, it was 7-3, I think, before we did that. So they would have at least had to drive on our defense and score to even get it to 7-10, as opposed to it being 17-7 going into halftime. So, like, even though those things kind of go by, like, that's a big difference. With 7-10 at half versus 17-7, it's a big difference. So, you know, we just have to try to stay away from those mistakes.
That's Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton, the Giants nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year in 2024. Making a point that I think we can all agree with. You know, it's hard when you kind of give up those 2 pick sixes, you know, 7-3 before that kind of the floodgates open there. And it's hard because you look at the way that this team is preparing and trying to do better, as Slayton was saying, but it's just not translating.
Yeah, frustrating. And you could tell with the words that Darius Slayton was using, like, they're all frustrated because they're trying to win. They want to win. They don't want to make mistakes. But like I mentioned before, it's all in the details. And as a receiver, the thing that handcuffs you is you can only do something once you get the ball. So you're waiting, and everybody else has to do their job. They've got to block, and he's got to throw in order for you to catch. So you're kind of handcuffed as far as the impact you can have. But I kind of look at this, and to use an analogy, it's like any parent out there, right? You have a kid. Like, just because he makes a bad decision or does something dumb doesn't mean he's a bad kid. He just made a bad choice or made a bad play. So you don't get rid of the kid. You just work through it, and you help them not make that same mistake. So like he was saying, there's bad football out there and bad plays. New bad football is okay, but repeating bad football is not okay. And I think that's really where the Giants are at. They can't continue to make the same bad mistakes. Make new mistakes. That's how you learn.
Exactly.
But I think, you know, as Darius Slayton pointed out, the effort is there. Like, they're trying. Trying is just half the battle. You've got to do better. You've got to execute better. And I think that's not an effort issue right now. It's just attention to the minor details. You don't want to trade the kid away. Keep the kid. All right, we're not getting rid of kids.
Nobody's trading their kids. It's like my mom used to say, the difference between try and triumph is a little oomph. And I would roll my eyes at it at age 12. But you know what? There's a little something there. But speaking of kids, you know, this is a pretty young team, this Giants team.
It is.
One of the young guys, Malik Nabers, though, did break the Giants rookie receiving record today with 97 receptions and counting on the season, breaking the record previously held by Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, chasing the NFL record that was set last year by Rams receiver Puka Nacua at 105 receptions on the season. He and several other receivers around the league are chasing that number, but again, that is a big accomplishment for a rookie wide receiver who's chasing that as well as a 1,000-yard season. His teammate Wan'Dale Robinson spoke about it after the game. Let's take a listen.
Wan'Dale is a fellow receiver. I'm sure you're aware that Malik Nabers has broken some rookie rushing records. How much can you appreciate what he's been able to do as someone who just got into this league?
I appreciate him a lot. He comes into work each and every week and does exactly what he's supposed to do. The ultimate team player. He wants everybody to succeed, and you can tell he wants to succeed too with just how ferocious he is, and he has the tenacity out there, and you just know that he wants to win.
Wan'Dale Robinson with some encouraging words on his teammate, the rookie wide receiver Malik Nabers, who finished the day with 7 receptions, 68 yards, a 21-yard long as well. What do you make of the accomplishment that he's had as an individual despite the unfortunate season for the Giants?
Yeah, well, listen, Wan'Dale Robinson had a good game as well. I thought he was a bright point for the Giants offense. With regard to Malik Nabers, this is a phenomenal accomplishment. I don't think he really is concerned with his personal accomplishments. I think he would rather trade those catches in for a win, especially at this point in the season. But when you think about what Malik Nabers has done, this is the 100th year of the New York Giants. And to set that record, like that's a long time to have basically created a new benchmark. And I think the most impressive part about it is he's had 4 different quarterbacks. So this is not Puka Nacua, who was with Matthew Stafford last year, the same quarterback throughout the season. He's gone from Daniel Jones to Boyle to Tommy DeVito, and then now to Drew Lock. So you think about, as a receiver, you've got a different quarterback sometimes every single week. That's hard to do. It's hard to have that chemistry. Look, I think he certainly can add to that in the next couple of weeks, and I'm sure he will. He's battling through some injuries this year as well. He's shown that he's tough. You knew when the moment that he stepped onto this practice field, he's got a little different vibe to him. He's got that fire, that tenacity that Wan'Dale Robinson was talking about. That is the kind of stuff that you need. You need that in your locker room. You need it on the field because it feeds into other people's. It becomes contagious. And I wanted to just encourage him, keep it up. Like, make everybody rise to your level and don't ever stoop to anybody else's.
Absolutely. Malik Nabers has been dealing with a hip injury, wants to fight through it, wants to be out there on the field with his teammates. As you saw earlier in the game, he left with a stinger, came right back out there, battled through it because, again, he wants to be there alongside his teammates.
He just needs a little more oomph.
A little bit more oomph. The difference between try and triumph. That's what it is. All right, Giants fans, check out the Eli Manning Show presented by Panini Prism Trading Cards. All you have to do is subscribe to the Giants YouTube channel to catch all of the new shows. It's the Eli Manning Show. Subscribe today. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. As we recap Week 16, look ahead to Week 17. Stay with us.
Things were looking kind of positive for you guys, and then it just kind of flipped like that. What happened from there?
Yeah, I think in the NFL is all about momentum, and we had the momentum scoring a touchdown, and our defense was getting stops. They were only able to kick the field goal, missed the field goal, so we had momentum on our side. And I think the pick sixes and things like that. I'm not throwing anyone on the bus. It's just that's how the NFL works. It's just the drive killers and then penalties, sacks, TFLs, missed assignments. Just little things like that can always end up adding up, and then you find yourself down 34-7, and then you just have to look in the mirror and be like, damn, like what did we do, and how can you improve and try to win the next week. But yeah, like I said, it's a new feeling for me for sure.
That's Giants tackle Jermaine Illuminor talking about the momentum needed for a game in the National Football League after the Giants fall to the Falcons 34-7. Madeline Burke and Sean O'Hara recapping this one. And Sean, as an offensive lineman, we saw some struggles on the Giants O-line today. They were getting a lot of pressure coming their way. What did you make of how the offensive line played today and kind of has of late?
Yeah, they look like two different offenses. The way that they started the game, everything looked really good. They looked like they were functional. They were doing well on first down and in third and manageable. And then the wheels kind of fell off. And after that first pick six, you kind of feel, all right, what's going to happen now? How do we respond? And then after the second one, it just, it was almost like the dam broke. And I think when you look at offensively, you go on the road like that and you're going to deal with crowd noise, you're in silent count. The last thing you want to be is in shotgun all the time because the defense starts teeing off on you. So I think the Giants, look, they had Kubas starting at left guard for John Runyon, who's on IR now. So anytime you add a new offensive player in there, they're going to attack you. They're going to get all kinds of exotic twists, try to get linebackers involved. We saw the right side struggle with that as well, both with Greg Van Roten and Evan Neal. So that's the fire that you're going to see every single week until you put it out. Now, how do you put it out? You got to do better on first and second down, so you're not in those third and long situations. Jermaine Illuminor, look, he's a veteran in the league. He's played a lot of football. I think he understands, how tough it is to lose games like this. You've got to stick together. I think the offensive line continues to play. They're trying to get better, but it's those aspects of it. They've got to do a better job passing off the twist. Third down's got to be better. You've got to create a better pocket. And the mental errors, they'll go over that in the film review as they look at all the stuff and make sure that they're not beating themselves, because that's the one thing you can't do as an offense, certainly not as an offensive line.
Right, absolutely. You don't want to beat yourselves in any regard of the game. And as we heard them talking about, too, the momentum is important as well. It's a tough way to lose another game. Again, 10 straight games for this Giants team. But you know what? They're going to continue to looking ahead. And
that's all you can really do.
It's all you can really do.
And when you look at offensively, when you have different guys coming in, like you say, all right, we got to run the football well early on in the game because we got to give confidence. We want Dable to feel confident that, hey, the run game is there, so that now he can put the ball in our hands and let us go to work, let us be physical, let us be aggressive.
Absolutely. 10 straight losses in the 100th season. But you know what? The 100th season, there's a lot of positive to look back on, too, throughout the history of this franchise. And as we continue to do this year, we're going to look at some of the impactful players that have played in Giants uniforms with a little Name That Giant. So we leave you here with this. Who is this Giant? A second-round draft pick in 2004, first-team All-Pro in 2008, a four-time Pro Bowler 2008 to 2010 and in 2012, two-time Super Bowl champion, and a member of the New York Football Giants Ring of Honor. Got any guesses? We'll reveal who that Giant is when we return on Giants Postgame Live. Welcome back to the show. We left you with a little Name That Giant, a second-round draft pick in 2004, a first-team All-Pro in 2008, four-time Pro Bowler 2008, 9, 10, and 12, two-time Super Bowl champion, and a member of the New York Football Giants Ring of Honor. Can you name that Giant, Sean O'Hara?
Yeah, I can. One of my favorite teammates of all time. He was my right guard. Chris Snead, the pride of Boston College and Montrose, Pennsylvania. There he is right there at a slim 345 pounds. If you see him walking around the Giants facility now, he's about 220, so he's half the man he used to be.
As are you.
Yeah,
That's what happens with offensive linemen.
But at least I didn't lose my personality. He did. So I think the Chris is one of my favorite teammates, and I remember when he got drafted in 2004, I came to the Giants as a free agent, and Chris was one of the best rookies in the history of the NFL. He said about 5 words the entire season, and he did everything we asked him to do. If Richie Sorberg told him he wanted 3 bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwiches, Chris Snead delivered on that. We knew right away that this kid should have been a first-round pick. He was the first pick of the second round in 2004. He also is the son-in-law of Coach Coughlin, so that gave us all kinds of great ammo with him. We had a little fun at his expense, probably still do at this time, but he's added to that Super Bowl championships. He has now won, I think, 4 straight Super Bowl championships in Franklin Lakes. He's a coach. His son,
alongside yourself.
Yeah, his son Walker is a phenom, and Chris Snead is still undefeated in Super Bowls, even at the youth football level. So congratulations to him and his son, and go War Eagles.
Well, and congratulations to you as well, one of the coaches on this staff as well. I mean, the coaching staff of the Franklin Lakes War Eagles is an all-star decorated staff.
Yeah, we got some good coaches, but like we said before, like our kids sometimes play bad football. We don't get rid of them. We just make them run laps.
Yep.
Right? And listen, corporal punishment always helps out when you're working with little kids.
Always helps out when you're working with the kids. And you know what? The War Eagles, it's translating to wins and success. Congratulations once again, Super Bowl champs, the Franklin Lake War Eagles. But as we turn our attention back to these New York Football Giants, of course, Week 16, we're going to put that behind us, right? And turning the page to Week 17. Last home game of the season, the penultimate game of the season as the Giants return to MetLife Stadium. It'll be Sunday, December 29th at 1 p.m. as the New York Football Giants host the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts coming off a 38-30 win over the Tennessee Titans today at home in Indianapolis in a game in which Jonathan Taylor put on a clinic, Sean.
Yeah, he did. And listen, the Giants, you're going to need every tool in the tool belt right now because it's tool time. Jonathan Taylor went nuts. Three touchdowns on the ground, 218. So defensively, they've got another tough tackle this week. Bijan Robinson last week, or today. And then when you think about Derrick Henry the week before, it's not getting any easier. And Jonathan Taylor has that breakaway speed. He's got that extra gear. So once he gets into the space, man, he's gone. It's a house call. He looks like Forrest Gump running down the sideline. Nobody within 5 yards of him. He is a powerful runner, but I think his speed is something that not a lot of defenders are ready for until they see it in game action. And look, defensively, it's not just Taylor. You've got Richardson. Anthony Richardson, he's a very mobile quarterback. He's going to get out of the pocket, and you've got to make sure that you get pressure on him, but you want to keep him in the pocket. Listen, quarterbacks have run for a lot of yards against the Giants this season. It's been something they've struggled with. That's going to be a point of emphasis. Along with tackling Taylor, we've got to bottle up Richardson, make him throw the ball from the pocket. Don't let him get outside and all of a sudden play backyard football and make a big throw.
Well, and talking about throwing the ball from the pocket as well, completion percentage was a point of emphasis on Anthony Richardson coming out of college. It was quite low. This season as well, it's been, in the high 40s. How do you kind of force him to throw the ball and take advantage of that and perhaps, win the turnover battle for one?
Yeah, well, anytime you want to force a quarterback to throw the football, you have to stop the run. And if he can just hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor and he gets 7 yards a clip, he's not going to have to throw the ball. So first and second down, you have to stop the run, earn the right to rush the passer on third down. That's the first objective. And then really basically based on blitzes and coverages, you can send blitzes that are going to force him to get the ball out. And I think that's one of the things that you want to do anytime you have a young quarterback. You send an unblocked defender in there, make him throw the ball sooner than he wants. That's when good things happen for you defensively.
Well, and you look at the way that the Giants are also looking at their last home game of the season, trying to get their first win at MetLife Stadium this season. They've gone 0-8, trying to avoid being the first team to go 0-9 at home in a season.
You can do it.
You got to think that they feel that in the locker room, right?
I think, listen, you want to get a win. And look, there's a lot of noise outside the building, and if you're a player right now, you're putting in so much work during the week, players and coaches. You want to feel that victory. You want to feel what it's like to come in the locker room celebrating, especially at home. They have not had a chance to do that the entire season. And look, there's just something about that win. And no matter how you get it, no matter how ugly it may be, if it's by 1 point or if it's by 10 points, when you come together and you can say, we did that, that's what this game is all about. It's all about competition. And anytime you can get a win, it feels good. It's good for the soul. It's good for the team. And look, it's good for everybody all around.
And it's good for the fans who show up week in and week out and support you at MetLife.
100%. And hopefully, look, a little incentive, maybe there can be, a little celebration afterwards in the parking lot. I'm sure some people will have some liquids.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we will be there, as we are every week,
always,
to recap the show, recap the game, and recap everything that we see on the field that day. For Sean O'Hara, I'm Madeline Burke. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health, and wishing you and yours a very happy holiday season. For everyone in our control room, we will see you next week.